Tell me again, why is this called Mother-in-Law's Bridge?
So in 1960s, mayor of Odessa used to live on Primorsky Boulevard, which is to the right. And he had mother-in-law who was a great cook. He visited her very often, and in doing so he had to take the old bridge, which is to the left of us, and it made his walking distance longer by 500 meters. So he wanted a shortcut. In 1967, the Bolsheviks were celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Soviet Revolution. So he used that as an excuse to use city funds to use the bridge. So official reason for building the bridge was to commemorate the Bolshevik Revolution, but since locals knew the truth, they quickly called it Mother-in-Law's Bridge.
I understood that she made great borscht.
Yep, and probably dumplings.
She just said that we're going on the smallest street in Odessa. It's only 2 blocks long and it's 24 buildings.
The street started in 1850s, and at that time it was called Hope Street.
Hope?
Hope. Like
H-O-P-E, like you have hope.
Yep, like hope. So later its name was changed to Gogol Street after famous Russian writer Nikolai Gogol. The street, as I said, counts 2 blocks and 24 buildings. And it starts with the only Gothic style looking house, which is in front of us, which is called Shah's Palace. Like Shah, like Sheikh.
Okay.
Palace. So built in 1850s by a Polish architect for a Polish aristocrat. Lots of Polish people moved to the area because they were involved in grain export. And to be closer to the trade, they settled in Odessa. That Polish person never lived here. He sold it to another Polish person who in his turn rented it out. And at the beginning of the 20th century, the most famous tenant was a Persian sheikh who came here with his 20 wives.
20 wives? Only 20 wives?
Oh, well, that's what they say. And now goes the urban legend. The sheikh entertained locals by throwing any of the wives, who he didn't like at that moment, from a small balcony. Somehow locals knew that, so they would catch the lady, so nobody really got injured.
That is a reputed balcony where the Shah would throw one of his wives to the masses, who always caught her. And were they allowed to keep her for their own selves? This is popular by rich merchants.
And merchants wanted to show who they were in the society through the look of their buildings. So that's why most of the buildings are quite eclectic. And within the distance of 2 blocks, you'll see quite a lot of different architectural styles.
This is where rich German merchants lived, and they made their living sheep breeding. Where did they keep their sheep?
So they had the special, like, villages or setups.
Farms outside of Odessa.
Vorontsov launched that. He was a big fan of English-style agriculture and rural life, so he asked to bring the first sheep from the Balkans.
Olga said if you Google Odessa, this is one of the main symbols, this particular house.
This one big...
One big apartment
big apartment, yeah.
Whenever you see one of these large plaques on a building here in Odessa, it means that a famous person lived here. She's going to take us to see Odessa's courtyards.
These are real mailboxes.
Is this a communal courtyard? It belongs to everybody?
It belongs to everybody, communal. Because people didn't have lots of land here, according to the city plan, the houses had to be built as close to the road as possible and wall to wall. There would be an arch to be used by the carriages, so that the carriage could drive behind the building, so the only space people had was behind the building. Up until probably 1970s, people who lived in such courtyards, they had communal lifestyle. So there would be a big table in the middle of the courtyard, and everybody would come in the evening to share a meal or to celebrate a holiday. They say when people got the first black and white TV sets, a family who would have one would put it on the table, and everybody would come to the table to watch a TV set. So women, if they had to do messy work, like cleaning fish or meat, they would come to the courtyard to do this. And you see this brown cistern? Remember I told you the city didn't have drinking water supply system.
Yes.
So the only source of drinking water for people who lived here was rainwater. So this cistern was connected with the roof, with the pipes. And that's how people gathered rainwater. It goes underground for about a meter or so. And in winter, it was used to melt snow.